YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got something amazing for you. ASW-17, 2.5 meters from FMS, quick release wings. We set ours up and actually went ahead and did an AR-637 so we could set up crow and reflex, which as you can see, we now have, which is pretty sweet. We did set up AS3X in safe. And so if you're buying this now, just pay special attention to coupon codes at brianphillipsrc.com. When you follow the links, you'll help support us, but just make sure you check out the coupon codes. Okay, throttle cuts off, take off flaps. You may notice there's a little bit torn up behind us. Holy cow, that thing is powerful. Take off flaps. Oh man, that thing is gorgeous. So the camera crew and I have embarked in a project. You may have noticed some trees missing. Going upside down here, and get a little altitude. Okay. And check this out, guys. Just absolutely gorgeous up there. The AS3X seems to be about perfect. Hope you guys can hear that. So this is the top of our property, if you will. We don't often fly here because the planes usually need a landing strip, okay? There's a pile of trees. Take off flaps. Oh, you know what I didn't set? I didn't set any elevator compensation.
Oh.
Okay, watch this crow. Holy cow. That thing is slowing down like crazy. And really, really good too. Okay, now take off flaps, a little bit of throttle. Out of the flaps. Out of the throttle. Guys, don't be afraid to use your rudder. You need to. Take off flaps now. I'm going to bring it over here, and then we're going to crow it right at our feet, okay?
Okay.
Careful, careful. Okay, out of the flaps. Take off flaps. Need a little bit of compensation. Okay, so I'm going to go back to flap system. Nothing there. We'll do like 8%. Let's see if that's good. And then on crow, I actually honestly don't think we need it because we're up and down with both surfaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure my throttle cut's on, which it is, and we're going to test it right now for you. We did the whole radio setup at the end of this video because we did change it quite a bit from the last time we played with this one. So throttle cuts off. About pulls out of your hand, guys. Okay, so we're going to get some airspeed. Okay, we're just going to bring it around. Some of those trees are just gigantic, guys. Take off flaps. Oh yeah. Need even more. Probably more like 12. That was 8. Okay, so just sailing along, as you can see, a couple of large machines here. Those large machines belong to our excavation crew, flying through the new hole there. That's going to be kind of the mouth of the pond, right, that I just flew over here. And we're going to be coming over the main part of the pond right now. And it's probably the shore, somewhere in that general vicinity. What a beautiful plane, guys.
Oh, the pink stake is straight down from where we're standing. I don't know if they'll be able to see it very good.
Okay, so we're going to get a little altitude here. Going up where the sun does shine. Okay, here we are. Now I do have a vario on here. You can tell we're sinking, going into the wind now. Take off flaps. Got some lift there, probably a little bit of wind that's going up that hill. So if you're thermaling, having a vario is super handy. Keep that thing nice and flat. Okay, I'm gonna turn off AS3X. Just make sure we're not getting undermining our ability to catch a thermal here. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can go around and catch a little thermal action. Guys, if you want to help support us, buy this plane from the links. It is FMS ASW-27 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was listening to my beeping. Okay, AS3X is back on. Flaps are off. That is so cool, guys. Okay, into the throttle hard. We're just gonna grab some altitude here. Okay. Take off flaps now. Gonna go search for a little bit of thermal action. Kind of weird, it felt like we just hit a thermal there. It could have just been wind. Let's go check these trees. Now that there's no leaves on them, my guess is we're probably not getting tons of thermal action off of them. That's probably just rotor from the hill. See that, guys? Could also just be the elevator. Maybe I'm pulling it a little bit. Getting into a bit of a stall there. Gotta get some speed out of the flaps. I'm gonna go up here, see if I can catch some thermals. Okay. So hard to tell if you're actually going up. So I got my AS3X off now, trying to keep it flat. If I had a bird I could find, I could follow the bird. Because birds will, ooh, same spot, kind of a lift from this hill. I want to go past here, see if the trees get me anything. Trees are darker colored, so they tend to heat up the air a little bit. Now there is a chart on the radio, but I mean, if you're good enough to look at the chart while you're flying, you're better than I am. And we didn't set up a 1-out timer on this one as part of the radio setup. Okay, doing contrary ailerons to keep the thing flying flat so we don't lose all our lift. We get a little airspeed here, see if we can hit some. No, we're probably out of it. Okay, here we go. Into the throttle. Okay, I'm gonna shut it off because it's driving me crazy. Probably a little bit too cold and a little bit too mild right now. We need a higher differential in temperature to create that lift that we're looking for. But guys, if you haven't ever seen our property in this light, don't worry, we haven't either. Okay, upside down. Look at the power, guys. Inside out loops, no problems. So much fun, guys. Love listening to the scream of these planes too. If you've never seen or heard the scream of a sailplane, get ready to live. So much fun. Take off flaps. Oh yeah, I think we have the elevator correct compensation about right, about 8%. Okay, to throttle. By the way, this is our property here too now. This little chunk over here, we hope to someday do something kind of special with it, but we can't really talk about it yet because there's still a plan afoot. Take off flaps now. Out of the flaps. I like to have pretty good safety margins. That's why I don't fly sailplanes as much, as hard as some guys do. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, guys, this 2.5 meter plane has presence. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, it's definitely, and that's heavy. Were you nervous there?
No.
I was. I just about lost it. I was trying to cut it a little bit too close on the top of the hill. And one of the things you guys will learn as you fly more, if you're not as experienced, or even if you're more experienced than me. Whoa, there's a lot of birds. Let's go hang out with them. Watch this. We'll move the bird pile. We'll herd them. See this? Watch them. They're going to split. Oh, that is so cool. Just to give you an idea of how incredible nature is. There you have it, folks. Inside, to our left. So if you still haven't made up your mind about this plane, all I'm gonna say is we really like it with the AS3X on this plane. If you get it with the reflex, I'm sure you're gonna have a good experience. Just keep in mind, you're not gonna be doing reflex and you're not gonna be doing crow and reflex. I don't know if there's actually technically a difference between the two. I think it's sort of the same thing. And no, I'm not talking about the reflex tool, because that's what you're gonna get in there. See how much rudder I got dialed in there? That's so cool. But the reflex is a stabilizer that FMS puts in many of their plug-and fly planes, so you can put a cheaper receiver in. And then I believe reflex is also another way to describe crow. Okay, out of the throttle, as I'm upside down, we'll just take a nice little trip around. This plane is just a little bit too heavy for some of the maneuvering that I'd want to do with it. But to be honest with you, it's big enough to get the job done because you can see it from a long ways away. I love going down under the excavator, but I didn't have the right line there. I had to abandon my efforts. Let's go about 20 feet here, hon. Manned aircraft to our left. I just want to double check. He's way up there. He should be good. Oh yeah, he's way up there. Off flaps. So those are the trees that we moved off to my left wing, and those trees came from where they tore all those other trees out because we wanted to salvage as many as possible. Coming into my right. Take off flaps into the wind, trying to take advantage of the lift off the hill, do a little bit of slope soaring, but don't think we're going to get enough lift. It's got to be way more strong. And by the way, if I could slope soar on this property, man, I would love it. But that usually means it's really, 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 really windy. And by the way, slope soaring is going to be more manageable once we have water. And you want to know why? Because water it leaves a more laminar flow of air because it's smooth. Generally smooth. I mean, you're going to have some waves and stuff, but it's not like 1,000 trees. If you guys haven't ever seen our house from back here, that's our house from back here. Normally you see it through a bunch of trees. Left. Take off flaps. Preserve a little teeny bit of energy, see if we can get down to the hill, and then buy some airspeed out of the flaps, back into the flaps. You're not going to have enough. Not enough for the safety margins I wanted. So much fun, guys. If you've never flown a sailplane, you need to get ready to live because it is so much fun. And the thing is, you don't have to fly them like I fly them. You can fly them for thermals. You can run these things for hours on a single pack if you have the right conditions. With a 4,000, or excuse me, we're doing a 3,200 4S. You could fly this thing literally for hours in the right slope environment. But you could put a small battery in there and put some dead weight and still fly it for probably an hour. Because really all you're doing is launching and then you just keep flying. So cool, guys. Gotta love it.
Oh, there's the hot air balloon again.
Oh yeah. Right behind me now-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You
guys see it?
Circle them. Yep.
So gorgeous. Guys, I love being here. It's so much fun. We love sharing this stuff with you. We're not going to let Google ruin it for us. They're trying right now, if you guys haven't already heard. I know you're probably sick of hearing about it if you're one of our normals, one of our regulars. But the truth is they're trying to dismantle our channel by taking away all the links. And it's unfortunate because really our links are just a really simple utility for you guys to use to help support us so we can make some small commissions over time. And as you guys decide to make decisions about planes that we have reviewed. And we've always been very upfront with you about the way that that system works. We've never been anything less than fully truthful about it. But Google just wants to keep you safe because they think you're a bunch of idiot children. And you're not. We think much more of you than they do, obviously. So if you want to help support us, follow the links that are in the video description below. If you can't find them below in the video description, there's a good chance they blocked them. And then you'll need to go to brianphillipsrc.com, our domain. And you can find them there. Also, you can find links back to YouTube via the playlists. So you can find any plane you want in all the different capacities of what we've done with a given plane. And that's going to give you guys the ability to have a really good check and balance against the manufacturers, because they're going to tell you everything is the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm going to tell you everything has problems, but everything has strengths, and everything that we review has positive things too. So we just try to give you a mix of both instead of just the normal marketing BS, because we really don't care which plane you want, because planes are for different seasons, different environments, different conditions. And we want you guys to be able to exploit every condition and every budget to get the most out of your RC flying experience. And we know that you guys are there to support us by following those links. You always have done it in the past, and we believe in you more than we believe in Google, because Google is just basically a big greedy pain in our butt. But we do operate on their platform. We're just going to do a little supplemental work in the near future, make it so that you can avoid that too if you want. That is so beautiful. That white against the blue, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So guys, one thing about sailplanes that's a little bit challenging is that you can fly them for a long time. How's our battery life?
We're going to be getting...
Do you know what it's at?
I do not.
So it'll be 15 when we get a warning?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so gorgeous now.
We're also
okay.
going to be just short on time because we had our radio set up a little bit ago.
Oh, yeah. I'm in throttle now. I know that's kind of lame-o. But I want to show you that you can fly it with throttle, but this thing is designed to be flown out of throttle. It's designed to be glided.
Glided?
Glided. Glided. What, do you think that's not a word? He glided the plane home. It sounds wrong, but I don't think it is.
Can't be anything else.
Yeah, what would it be? Glide? He glide the plane home. What are you, Chinese now? We work with a lot of Chinese companies.
To wear off on me.
Yeah. We really enjoy working with a few of them, and then others are kind of like, oh my goodness, seriously, get your heads out of your butts. But at the same time, you know, I don't speak any Chinese and they speak English, which is pretty big. Yeah. And they do a good job making planes. I gotta admit, Chinese work hard. So do Americans, but we just cost more for our time. So someday it'd be kind of cool if we could work with an American company that would make these things. But you know what? Until such a time, we're gonna keep loving what's available. You know, it's like that song, Love the One You're With. It's kind of like that. That is so cool watching it go right over the horizon.
Yeah.
Covering a lot of ground. We would have just gone through the power lines there previously. So last year, we were just talking about this last night. Last year, we buried the power lines. This year, we got that piece of property secured over here to increase the size of our land. And then this year, at the tail end, we're gonna put this pond in, move some trees. We are making some major investments, folks. Like, more than we basically have ever done in our lives.
Well, and almost exactly 2 years ago, there's my 15% warning, we bought
this
land
land.
Over right now.
Yep. And that was huge expense. So Guys, we love doing this, and we are trying to expand our capabilities to the point of full scale. Look at this right behind me. So cool. I'm going to shoot the moon once. That would be a balloon this time instead of the moon.
Not the moon.
You can see it right behind me. Yep. So cool. We'll do it one more time right there. Oh no, popped it. Just kidding, guys.
You missed it. You did hear me say 15%, right?
I did.
Okay.
So what does that mean? We got like 30 seconds left?
No.
So guys, I've learned some planes don't like to fly upside down. This one, I'm giving it near a full up elevator to keep and maintain that flight performance. So I would say this one doesn't really like being upside down that much. Going down and back up. Crow. That is so cool. Janking it. Take off flaps. By the way, if you ever need to make a tight maneuver, put your flaps on. It will increase your elevator authority during a flight maneuver. If you weren't already aware, you can actually set up a mix where you mix your flaps directly to your elevator. To our right. Guys, if you don't like watching this, seriously, I don't understand, because I think it's amazing to watch these planes fly. I could literally do it for hours, but I understand that videos that are hours long of just me flying in circles might get a little bit old, and we appreciate that you guys have other things to do, like go follow the links and buy these for yourself. Here, we're gonna try to put it at our feet again. Okay. Full crow. Out of the crow. Now, one thing I was thinking about is when you land these planes, that's 4 minutes and 27 left, and we're at 14.8 volts. So that's still not too bad.
You've been flying for about 21 minutes.
Oops. So flap system. I think I want to do just a little bit of crow, or a little bit of correction, probably 5%, and we're going to test this again. Warn me if it gets to the 5. Okay. Guys, if we would lose you at the very end of this video, it's my apologies to the camera crew for putting us in such a terrible situation. I want to show you that you can launch this without power. I'm not saying that I like doing that. Throttle cut is off, so I'm prepared. Okay, here we go. There you go. So as you can see, it works, but you got to be pretty in it. Okay, that's full crow. Elevator compensation needs to be just a little bit more on the crow setting, and I'm going to show you why. Here's takeoff flaps. Pretty straight and level. There's crow. See? Got to get that adjusted. Okay, we'll try it now. Take off flaps. Crow. I'm pushing down the elevator. Okay. So we're going to bring it uphill to us right now. We're going to make that adjustment. I'm also going to make, okay, out of the crow. Throttle cut's on. Okay, so real quick. Flap system rather. We're going to go 12. Okay, now let's try this again, guys. I guess what I'm getting at is sailplanes are a different thing. If you're not into sailplanes, I get it. But this thing is awesome. It's rock solid. You're gonna really enjoy it. And by the way, that lasts like whatever long. I was flying with AS3X off and it was doing fantastic, but it is pretty dang calm out here, okay? So if you intend to fly slope soar and whatnot, the AS3X and Safe will make a big improvement in your flight performance, okay? So we're gonna do this one more time. Throttle cuts off. Take off flaps. Watch this thing pull out of my hand. I didn't even throw it. Okay, getting back in position. You're good there. Take off flaps. Now crow. Man, it's still going up. Did you see that? That pitch up moment?
I did.
Okay. Now I want to show you Safe. Here's Safe. Now, I want to show you, I opened up the limits. There's up limit, good. There's roll left, there's roll right limits. Okay, now I'm going to try the down limit here. Okay, getting in position here, and here's the down limit with full crow. Look at that, that is just incredible. Okay, out of Safe into AS3X, take off flaps, landing flaps, and crow. Pointing it downhill, keep that thing pointed downhill. Take off flaps now, and crow. Okay, out of crow. Throttle cuts on. Now, even more, guys, this is what you got to do when you're doing setup on these planes, guys. You guys got to do it. So I'm going to go to like 20%. And I'm going to go to 10. Okay, so 10 and 20. All right, we're going to launch again. How are we doing on battery there, camera crew? 5%, guys. Okay, we might be out. Hopefully we get this with positive results. Throttle cuts off. We're going to pick this up and launch. We're going to go that way. Okay. Take off flaps, throttle. That thing isn't even hesitating on battery. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Coming toward us. Now full crow. Ooh, yeah. Look at that thing. No pitch change. We're going to try with more airspeed this time. Okay. Take off flaps. Now crow. Oh, still pitch up. Still pitch up. Look at that, so cool. You can see the control surfaces move. That is so cool. Okay, out of flaps altogether. Okay, throttle cuts on. One more adjustment. We're gonna go real crazy here. Flap system. I wanna get that pitch up moment taken care of. We're just gonna go all the way up to 30 and we're gonna call it good. Okay, camera crew's gonna pause. Okay, I feel like I might be getting a little bit low on juice. So here we go. Take off flaps. Landing flaps. Yeah, still not enough. That is incredible, the amount of flaps that are needed here. Out of flaps altogether and touching down. So guys, I'm gonna go up even more. 30 was the last time. I'm gonna go flap system for crow. I'm gonna set it to 40. Now I think what's happening is we're just losing enough airspeed that everything is more active, okay? So guys, what a sweet plane. Buy one from the links. If the video dies on us, we appreciate you being here for the revisit on this plane and for all the different things that you've done for us over the years. Okay, getting some airspeed built up out of flaps. Okay, coming in, take off flaps. No gain, landing flaps. Yeah, I still had to help it. A little bit of hesitation there. Okay, out of the flaps altogether. And just gonna stall it into the grass. Guys, what a sweet plane. I think we're out of juice for now. And that's 3 minutes 17. I could probably push it to the limit, but just a great example of a wonderful sailplane FMS makes. 2.5 meter ASW 2017, or
just 17.
ASW 17, I'm so sorry. It's a great plane. Pick one up from the links in the video description below. When you follow them, you'll help support us. And also, if you want to support us in other ways, we have Patreon, PayPal. Remember, friends and family on PayPal. And then YouTube members and YouTube super thanks. We appreciate you guys. Stay tuned. So much more coming on this video. You'll watch us do all of our setup, except for the elevator compensation, which you'll just have to grin and bear it, because I think you're just going to need a ton on the crow setting if you really want to make it level. That's all we got for you. Thanks for watching, guys. And stay tuned. More about the pond will be coming out soon. All right, guys, so you already saw this FMS ASW-17 2.5 meter fly. And as you know, we have it equipped with the AR-637T, which is a pretty good receiver combination. Now, if you're buying this right now, you might get it with a reflex. You could put a 620 in there and keep things very basic and be no problem. You could pretty much follow any high wing trainer configuration that has basic landing gear, fixed landing gear, and you'll be fine. But what we want to do today is we want to talk about how to get the most out of this system, because when we set it up initially, we set it up on an NX6, which means we were limited on channels, which meant we couldn't do reflex and crow, okay? So we're gonna do crow on this plane, even though it may not need it, because inboard flaps are very effective on this plane. Crow just takes it to another level, okay? So that's what we're gonna do right now. And so we'll talk about the supplies we use and how we got there. So if you're watching this playlist and you're watching the initial unbox build radio setup, you'll see how we set it up, and then we're gonna change it into adopting the additional features, okay? So we're gonna add one short extension cord, just like this, male to female. We just have our battery ready when we're ready for it, and we have our transmitter, which is now the NX10. Now, you can tell it was made on an NX6 because there's only 6 channels on the screen, okay? So because there's only 6 channels, that means that we're not gonna have access to tapping into all the features that we want in that model profile. So we have to create a new one, okay? So the first thing we'll do is pop the lid, lay that off to the side, get our lanyard out of the way, And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna disconnect the Y cable for the ailerons. And that Y cable is not gonna quite allow us to reach both of the aileron cable leads because we didn't plan on doing this earlier. And so we put that receiver right there, okay? Now that's something you could potentially avoid, and that might save you having to get any extension cords, okay? So just be mindful of that when you're setting up your system yourself. In our case, I'm gonna leave the Y cable in place, and I'll just disconnect one of the two, and it doesn't matter which one. And I'm gonna have it prepared to plug back in. And then I'm gonna plug this one in, the extension cord, the servo extension cord, brown to brown, snap it in, make sure it's good. And now this and this will be our two ailerons. Now, if I look carefully, I can kind of tell which one's which by just kind of tugging on the cables while it's inside of here. So it looks like, you know, if you were in a big pinch, you could just unstick this from the stickum and move it back a little bit. In fact, how hard would that be? Yeah, it's down there pretty good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it, and I'll waste the extension cord and Y, okay? You could also use another Y if you want, or you could take scissors and cut this off and use it for another application if you wanted to, or you could just get shorter extensions, okay? Either way will work. But as you can see, I've now disconnected those because they need to be separate and operated by separate independent channels. So I'm gonna slide this plane back. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get into a new model. So we're gonna cancel and go back. At the same time, we're gonna scroll all the way down. We're gonna create a new model. I can't show you because we have something that's not released yet. So I'm gonna go to add new model. Then it's gonna bring up this screen. We're gonna choose that. Now you can also choose the sailplane, but just keep in mind the sailplanes are way more complicated and they're not necessarily gonna make this any easier on you, okay? But you can do that. In our case, we've had just as much good luck with acros, but if you get into a more sophisticated, more advanced sailplane, you may wanna use those, okay? So we're gonna create that. And then of course, this is gonna come up with new model. It takes a little bit longer when you're up into the high 200s on model count, and that's where we are now, okay? Now you could also copy your model, but then you're gonna have the same parameter limitations that we had before, which was that it was made in an NX6, okay? So now we're the model type, we've already set, model name, we're gonna type it in and we'll come right back. This will be the FMS ASW-17 2.5. All right, so we have the FMS ASW-17 in the NX10. Ooh, I can actually add a dash. Guys, if you don't know what these symbols mean, I use a legacy keyboard, by the way. You can insert a special character, which is always kind of nice if you forgot something in the middle, which is really nice. So the FMS ASW-17 2.5, and this is the NX10 model. And so if I was smart, I would go back to my old one and I would add NX6 to it, okay? Or just delete it, which probably is what I need to do as soon as this is done. Okay? So aircraft type, we want to set up the wing type. That's one way you can do it. That's probably what we'll do. So 2 ailerons and 1 flap. So that should give us features that we need. And the tail is a standard tail type. And then I'm gonna go down to select image, and I'm gonna go standard image file, and then I'll scroll over to probably the same one we used for the other model. They have a sailplane with a prop and one without. Okay, so that's got a, what is going on with that tail? Kind of weird. It's like a V-tail, but they made a mistake on it. That's good enough for me. Okay, so now we need to do flight mode setup. So we're gonna set that to, let's talk about switches real quick. Normally this would be flaps. This would be gear, okay? But we don't have gear on this plane. This would be maybe the Vario on off because that's for special features. This would normally be AS3X safe or off. Because this is a sailplane, I wanna be able to turn off the features. So I'm gonna stay away from using the gear, okay? Now over here, this will be throttle cut. This would be thrust reverse if it existed, which we don't. This will be dual rates and expo, and then I'm not gonna use switch E. This knob will be used for master gain. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and inhibit. I'll highlight that and then go to switch D. Okay, so we have 3 flight modes available. And the spoken flight modes, we'll type in spoken flight mode 1 is going to be cancel, cancel. And then this is where it's gonna say AS3X. So that's our stabilizer. And then we'll come back when we're done typing. So now it says AS3X, and then we'll scroll way down to the bottom here, and we'll set AS3X and come back when we're done. mode right there. Okay, flight mode 2 is going to be off, so we'll cancel, and then we'll type OFF, and that's going to mean nothing is on for stabilizer or auto leveling. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and set this up with AS3X and safe, just to make it easy for you guys to follow along if you would like to have safe. And we'll have it say off. Okay, so now it'll be AS3X mode, off. Then this one is going to be for us safe. Now remember, this is just a label, both audio and visual. It's going to show on the screen about here in normal flight mode, and then it's going to say it audibly when you change modes, which is really nice. So safe. All right, so as you can see, we're scrolled back down and we're going to go to safe mode. There's AS3. There it is. Okay. Okay, very good. So those are just labels, remember that. Okay, channel assign, I want to unselect aux2 from B. So I'm going to highlight aux2 and I'm going to inhibit it, okay? Right, whoops, inhibit. Then right knob is on aux3, that's good. We have the left sliders and the right sliders for aux4 and 5. Now you're like probably thinking to yourself, why do you need aux4 and 5? You're only using a 6-channel receiver. That's correct. I'm not going to worry about those in this application. But 8 and 7 I do have access to because of the AR637. You can actually use the channels that are beyond the pluggables, and that's a great feature of that style, okay? So we're going to walk back out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up throttle cut, okay? Throttle cut is turned on. So, whoops, switch H. You can see it's on currently when it's pulled toward my belly. That's the way I like it. And then when I switch it away, the throttle's live. You can tell by looking at that monitor down there, okay? So that's good. That's the most important step. And then we'll set up dual rates and expo on switch F right now. This is all very basic stuff. It's kind of the same thing we do all the time. And so it just kind of gives us a starting point. Doesn't mean it's where we're gonna end, but it does give us a starting point with each plane we fly. Okay, so it's very helpful to have a starting point. And then guess what? Sometimes we modify up, sometimes we modify down, but it gives us the right feel. And remember guys, flying is like playing golf. It's in your head, a lot of it, okay? Not that I would know about golf. Okay. And so these little subjective adjustments make a big difference in the way that plane looks when you're flying, which is something I remember from learning from going to Birmingham RC when we did our Bigfoot event, or when we were involved in that Bigfoot event, rather, more precisely. I had to use everybody else's transmitters to fly their planes. And it was like, man, it sucks to have to go reach over controls to get way up here to flips. It's no wonder people don't use flaps, because they got to take their fingers off the sticks to go to it. That's the dumbest thing ever. Use this, you can stay on it. If you're a pincer grip, you have a different scenario, okay? I use thumbs, and that means I can get to B all the time. I can get to A all the time without taking my fingers off of the sticks, okay? But to get to D, I have to make this big move, and that means I usually have to take my fingers off the sticks. Now that may not be true for you. Maybe you have longer fingers, longer hands, but that is a big factor for me. That's why I set my planes up the way I set them up. Okay, coming back to the point. Now differential, we're not going to use differential. Differential is something that can be used if you want, but I'm going to just leave it off for now. Throttle cut's already set up. Flap system, we're going to leave that attached to switch B. And you can see we have Crow automatically populated, which is really nice. I am going to leave these all at 0 for the ease of setup, but I am going to set it to 2 seconds. Whoops, to 2 seconds. Okay. And there will be some more stuff we need to do, but we're going to go ahead and let's set timer. Timer is going to be not a 1 out. We're going to do 10 minutes, and we're going to do not a 1 out, but we also have voltage telemetry thanks to this little fancy line that goes up to the XT60 in this case. XT60 will mesh up with an IC3, but it's a little bit of a hard press. You can use adapters if you wish, okay? They also work with EC3s, in case you're wondering. directly into an XT60. So long as it's this direction, battery to device, okay? So if you have this would be a male XT60 on a plane and a female IC3 on the battery. Vice versa doesn't work. So if you had an XT60, you can't stick it into an EC3 on a device, okay? Because they won't mesh up. All right, so at the end of our timer, what do I want? I want it to say at 1 minute, I want a voice call out. At 20 seconds, I want nothing. At 10 seconds, I want a voice countdown. At expiration, I want tone and vibrate with a tone every minute thereafter. Keep in mind, that's only gonna operate when you move the stick past 25, and then when you come back down and you're gliding, it'll stop the timer. The only reason I do that is because this is a sailplane. Sailplanes do run under throttle, and then they come out of throttle and they glide. You're gonna have a lot of flight time if you're careful with your resources on a battery this size. It's a 4S 3200 50C. You're gonna get lots of power really quick with this battery, and you're gonna fly for some time. Now, I do admittedly prefer the 1 out timer, but because this is a sailplane, we're gonna go ahead and set that up. Now, what's the next step in setup? We have to hook up wires. So we're gonna go to monitor, and that's gonna tell us exactly where to land all the wires, okay? So that's our next move. So I'm gonna just pull this plane forward. Okay, so throttle's on channel 1, that's already done. Right aileron is going to go to channel 2. So it looks like, if I had to guess, I still can't tell. So I'm gonna just show you the right way to do this. If in doubt, do it the right way, make it easy on yourself, okay? I got a battery. That one's a 3S. Let's grab one of these, and this will be enough to test, because we'll just plug that in, get it powered up. Once it's powered up, you can see the battery is discharged in storage. So we go to servo test, we'll open that. And then we'll just plug it in here. The negative goes toward my belly in this case, so brown is down. Do you guys see that? Okay, so that would be for us. Why is that beeping?
No. Is it energizing the ESC?
How is that even possible? Are there LEDs on this wing?
There are not.
Okay, that's extremely weird, guys. Oh, you know why? That is common with the flaps, because this has a quick disconnect inside the wing right there. They share the positive and negative, so we are backfeeding the ESC. Interesting, but it doesn't really hurt us either. Okay, so this is the right flap, okay? Or right aileron. That's all we need to identify, because then the other one will do the same thing. Now, guys, if you don't understand what we just identified on accident, what we identified is the fact that this pinout in that quick disconnect that's on this wing, if you haven't seen it, there's a slide back and a slide forward. Hon, can you grab the end of that wing and pull out carefully? You're gonna have to pull a lot harder. A lot harder. You're not gonna hurt it, just pull. Just go.
I only have one hand.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, hold on. I gotta release the latches. Okay, go ahead. There it is. Okay, now I'll pull this out. This wing is a super, super nice design. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins, okay? How do you run 2 servos? Why are they common? That's very weird. They shouldn't be. Okay, this is how easy it is to put the wing back together though. Click, click, okay? So let's see what happens here. That isn't a retractable gear, is it? Nope, it's fixed. All right, so this is gonna be for us the other servo. Just for grins and giggles, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. Brown is away from my belly. Okay. Now I can also do a sweep test. Okay, so that's clearly gonna be for us, our left wing, okay? Back to the center and then unplugged, all right? So that doesn't really hurt us, it's just backfeeding to the BEC. No big deal. Okay, so this one needs to go to up here on channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the top channel, which is currently hooked up to the flaps. So I'll disconnect the flaps, which is hooked in a Y cable. Now you could separate those two if you wanted, but you would need more channels if you're gonna do that. So I don't suggest you do that necessarily. And this is gonna get plugged in down here with yellow wire up to match the signal position of all the rest of them. Now this one, I'm just trying to decide for cable management reasons how I wanna do this. I think I'm gonna go under this cable. That's our battery power lead there. Okay, so brown is down, that needs to go to channel 2, and we're gonna have that extra pluggable channel point there that's not gonna be used from the Y cable. Okay, pushing the nose down so I can press against it. All right, so there we have it. So this can go back, and then this can also go back. And just for a second, we'll get our cable management straightened out. Okay, now we have a flat plug that we have to plug in. That's gonna go to channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. So channel 5 will be the flaps now. Okay, the flaps are on a Y cable, so both of them are gonna function. I plugged this in backward. Why is that plugged in backward? Do you see this? Look at that. I plugged that in backward, guys. That Y cable we just talked about in channel 6. The yellow is supposed to go up. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I did, thank goodness. Why didn't you tell me something, audience?
I didn't notice.
Oh.
Your hand was in the way.
No, I was talking to the audience, being a smart aleck, of course. Okay, so that's there. Push down, we have pretty good cable management. I'm happy with that. Okay, so now at this point, we should be able to energize this, but we have to treat it like we can't trust it even though we can. Okay, middle, back, forward. Okay, good, 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 good. I'm just checking all my switches. Throttle cut is on, and it's established to be on by seeing that not move, but I still don't trust it until I see this thing not start, okay? Now, there's Velcro here and there's not Velcro here. We are going to do what we always do on planes now, and that is we're gonna get some shelf liner and apply it to a piece of Velcro. And this is gonna, sorry for the mess, folks. We've been doing some flights today because the weather's been so terrible. We have to try to get it all done kind of at once. I wonder if I can get this out, because that is that soft or hard?
This is the hooks, so you need loops. Soft.
I need soft, okay. All right, so let's see what we got in here. Sure, we saved something somewhere from something.
I'm sure you did.
100% certain.
And you don't need very much, right?
No.
Just enough to hold that shelf liner.
Yeah, just a little teeny bit, okay. Okay, so this is what happens when you live with a hoarder. You have bags of hook and loop.
Yeah.
And Velcro.
Yeah.
Some of it's Velcro, Brand.
Oh, some of it probably
Some of
is.
it's
Yeah.
Velcro.
Some of it is.
Most of it's just hook and loop because who's going to use name brand stuff for this? Now let's look at this for a sec. Is that going to hook? Yes, it is. That's pretty big, but it's still, it's fine.
You could use half that.
I could probably use half of it and it would get the job done.
Yeah.
But, you know, because I want to save this for another project.
Yeah.
You never know when we're going to need it. Okay? There's nothing wrong with being frugal, guys. Don't broke people are not frugal, okay?
I don't have a problem with being frugal. I have a problem
This Velcro is expensive.
hoarding garbage.
What? This isn't garbage. That's some of my most important stuff. Don't be crazy. All right, so let's put this Velcro right here. It's gonna be super, this isn't Velcro, this is Cheap China brand.
Yeah.
Cheap China brand, it's actually a brand. Check it out at www.cheapchinabrand.com. Just kidding, Google, it's not a link, for God's sake, it's a joke. Okay, so guys, you've already seen this thing fly. And by the way, full disclosure, you don't need Crow. Crow is not necessary to make this plane function. It's just kind of a fun thing to do, and you might want to do it. So we do, on this channel, we review fun things that people want to do for fun, because most people are not small enough to ride to work in their RC aircraft.
Most people aren't? Are there people that are small enough?
Are you challenging my concept, or are you not realizing that it was a joke? I'm trying to figure out which one it was.
I was being sarcastic.
You can't be sarcastic about my sarcasm.
Oh. You can't?
I'm just gonna let it die.
So you're rebinding this. Like, this is basically a new plane. Like,
so
if
look,
you go through.
There's a battery. It's in the hole. Okay. So now all you need is just a little bit of purchase, and that shelf liner will do the trick, okay, guys? I'm gonna slide that down. And let that bite there. And then slip that down. Okay, so now we have a battery in there. We need to check the CG at some point, but we're not quite there. Okay, throttle cut's on. I was hoping the camera crew would throw that away, so she's gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna get myself set up to the bind mode. So I'm gonna click and scroll down to bind, and I'm gonna hit yes, and I'm gonna be prepared. Then I'm gonna plug this in, making careful not to get my family jewels in a bind, quite literally. I'm gonna press this button right here. I don't know why you keep walking back. So I pressed the button and it started flashing. Now I'm gonna go to bind, right there. Click yes, bind, binding. We don't trust the throttle yet, so I have to keep my body out of the way in case something starts it. I've never had that happen. Okay, all right, good. So now that it's armed, we're gonna give it a second. We're gonna test throttle. Then we're gonna keep our throttle cut on and we're gonna move this so that its nose is over the edge of the table, or counter in our case. And then we're gonna go ahead and test the throttle. Throttle cut's off now. Okay, so it's going in the right direction and we have braking. Throttle cut's now on and tested, timer's cleared, okay? So now we can fold that back and get back to our radio setup. Radio setup should go pretty smooth because we're mostly, we've got a lot left to do, but it's pretty quick stuff. It's gonna happen all at once, basically. Okay, so we can tuck that stuff down in. Now we can go ahead and cover this up. We haven't checked CG, we'll check it at some point. Love the latch, okay? Now, also you can hear the plastic on the wingtip. Show them over there. There is a leading edge that's reinforced with plastic and plastic over there. So if you happen to hit something small, maybe not a tree that's like 75 feet tall, but a branch or something, you might be able to save it. It's also gonna help with wear and tear from hanger rash, okay? Hanger rash, of course, would be just loading in and out of the car and stuff like that, okay? So now let's look at surfaces. I wanna flip this plane around. This is what I always do. Camera crew's gonna move and she's gonna give me a little bit of room to spin. And then we're gonna lay this back down on the island. And watch this, let's check controls. Elevator up, elevator down. Yaw left, that is incorrect. Come back over here. Okay, that's wrong. So I'm gonna go straight to servo setup, travel, highlight it, reverse, rudder. Rudder left, rudder right. Roll left, okay, so that's wrong as well. We'll see if that does it. That's correct now, but the left aileron needs to flip as well. Okay. Okay, so roll left, roll right. I'm gonna hold this plane steady so it doesn't move itself. Roll left, roll right. See this? Roll left, roll right. Don't be afraid of looking like a fool to verify this. Because if you get it wrong, you'll probably crash your plane. Elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right, takeoff flaps, landing flaps, none of that works. So let's go into flap system and make it work. Flap system, position 1, okay, wrong way. So we're gonna go negative first. Now, knowing this is FMS, it's probably not gonna make it quite there. It usually doesn't because we have to overdrive these servos. Okay, so we're at minus 100. And then this one's gonna be plus 100. Okay, so full landing flaps, and we're just gonna look where the flaps go. Okay, so there's plus 100, okay? There's our takeoff setting. What are you doing?
I'm trying to make sure they can see both.
So I'm gonna go to minus 50, okay? So there's not very much deployment there because that's gonna be for like thermaling and takeoff, and then this is gonna be for landing, which is gonna also then deploy crow. So in that position, I wanna set crow to go up like that, okay? So we have a normal takeoff setting. Let's do just a little bit more flap deployment. So we're like minus 25, okay? Now, as you can see, we have takeoff flaps and then we have landing crow. You can also mix some of that out, but it's not as easy as I want it to be, okay? Because you're still gonna have aileron performance. Now, let's walk back up to servo setup. And let's go into flaps and let's set our home position to, instead of 100, we're gonna go to like 125. There's 150. Okay, so we got to go all the way to 150. There's landing flaps. Now, see how this is highlighted? Watch what happens. It's not moving, so I'm going to set that to 100. We're good enough there. Okay, now the same thing on ailerons. I feel like we have, and I'm going to go to 145, not 150. It's just too much, okay? Now, the other thing is, ailerons could move more if you wanted, but that seems like a lot of deflection for me. Okay, I'm not saying you couldn't have more. In fact, why don't we do this real quick? Let's come around here and show. Servo setup. I'm gonna go to 150 and just see what happens. Whoa. Okay, so it doesn't like that. Okay, so that's way too much. I should have checked for that before. Let's try 125. Actually, I'm gonna do it this way. Yep, that's too much. Okay. See this 100? Yep. You're not going to get enough to matter. So I'm just going to leave it at 100 and 100. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do that's really cool when you set up your surfaces in this manner is what you can do is you can set up what's called differential. Now, differential is where the wing that's going up, I guess switch E. I don't usually use switch E, but I'll just show you for the sake of argument, right? What it does, okay? So 100% differential means that the one that's going up is gonna go up, the one that's going down is gonna do nothing, okay? Up, nothing. Up, nothing, okay? During takeoff flaps, up, nothing, During crow, up, nothing, which is where they're gonna be anyway. Okay, so coming back over, we'll show you what it would look like with 50. And you can do the math in your head. You probably already know what's gonna happen. Now it's gonna be 50% on the other side. Up, up. Oh, because I'm still in E on the top setting, I have to go to the middle. See, now it's half down and full up, right? Now, position 3 or position 2 on the switch, position 0, 1, and 2. So the third position, I'm gonna show you what it looks like when there's negative 50. We'll do negative 100 so it's easier visually to see. This means the one that's going down is gonna go down all the way and the one that's going up is gonna do nothing. See? Or that, okay? So that's what differential does. You don't need differential on this plane. So what I'm gonna do is, I mean, just because we've talked about it now, I'll do 50. I'll do 50 here and I'll do minus 50 here, okay? And then I'll do nothing in the normal setting, okay? So then it's just normal roll. But then if I go here, I'll have 50% less down as compared to full up, if that makes sense. And then if I want, I can do opposite. 50% down more and 50% up more. Now, why would you do that?
Why?
There's a condition during crow. Look, during crow, that's what it looks like when you have more differential. See where that comes in handy?
Okay, do it again.
That's 50% negative differential. So you have more aileron roll authority during crow. Okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. If you wanted to, come around, you can set this differential to act upon your flap mode switch. So if you wanted to be able to turn this up, okay, let's change this to switch B. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So now, in normal takeoff mode, or normal flight mode, you might want 25% differential, okay? So there's your 25% differential during normal flight mode. That just means that the one that's going up goes up and the one that's going down goes down 75% roughly, okay? Now, in normal flight mode or takeoff flight mode, we want to exaggerate that a little bit less, okay? You're not gonna be able to see much, but there's just a small change. See the change? That's normal, that's takeoff, okay? So just barely any, okay? And then in position 2, this is where the big change is gonna take place. Full landing crow, watch this. Put it to minus 100. Now watch what happens. Only, so I like the, let's try minus 25 and see what it looks like, okay? Now, if I were to come out of that and then I go to regular flight mode, everything just feels nice and smooth, okay? So we'll just leave that on so we can see how it performs, okay? And then throttle cut, of course, is already set. We've already tested it. Now, if you're trying to figure out how to set the braking should be on out of the box, but if it's not, you have to read about the ESC that you have. And it's basically a series of leaving the throttle cut off with that unplugged from the battery, full throttle, plug it in. Yes, I know that sounds dangerous because it could be if something goes wrong. And secure and brace the plane, take off the prop if you need to. But then what's gonna happen is it's gonna go into a programming mode, and then you set the change in state with your throttle switch or your throttle stick going all the way down. And then you'll hear a feedback. It's usually the first setting for braking. Okay, come back around. All right, so flap system is set. I'm satisfied with the way the flaps are working. Now that we have elevator going up and down, you see that? That doesn't feel very latched in. There's like a snap or something that holds that, is there? See how easy that snaps in and out? I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of due diligence here that I don't like to have to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I don't really look forward to that popping off or being invalidated by popping forward, okay? We're gonna take some tape and just run-of-the-mill tape, nothing special, and I'm gonna stick this on the camera crew right there. Then I'm gonna take another piece of tape that's cut clean on both sides, and I'm just literally gonna stick this tape down and hold this in place, okay? Very simply put. And that tape is not holding. You see it?
No, it like peeled right off.
It immediately comes off. Okay, so I think the reason it's doing that is because the mold release on this particular type of plane is evidently really strong, okay? We're gonna try laterally and see if that's enough. No, that did not work at all. Wow.
Yeah, but a well-trimmed sailplane shouldn't need an elevator.
Yeah, but it needs an elevator. It needs an elevator if it's, okay, we're gonna have to get a little bit more aggressive with this tape.
Aggressive with your tape?
Yeah, we're gonna just,
oh, geez.
we're just gonna go to some big packing tape here now.
Really aggressive.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I want that thing to hold still. Okay. Okay, so now I stick this down. This is some thick tape. I would normally not use thick tape like this. Did you not get that off of there?
No, I couldn't with one hand. Stick it to me.
Don't mind if I do. I'm gonna trim off the edge because it's kind of dirty on this tape for some reason. And then I'm gonna trim off the other edge just to make it literally smaller. But this is just more sticky and thicker tape. Okay, so stickier and thicker. Come on now, there we go. Got it that time. Now that, ooh, I don't like that. These are the types of things you just kind of have to deal with when you're getting ready to fly a plane. If you don't deal with stuff like this, you're gonna regret it later and you're gonna wonder what the heck happened.
Well, that at least stuck.
Oh yeah, it stuck. It stuck pretty good too, I think.
Yeah, it did.
I think we're fine now on that.
I think you should trim that, yeah, trim the next piece down a little bit too.
I am doing it exactly as you say. Good idea. Good idea, honey.
Thanks.
I'm just taking advantage of an opportunity to agree with my wife. So I'm a good husband.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm sticking this on the other side. And once you get it pushed down, you can kind of re-roll the tape into the seam. Okay, and that would be fairly easy to take off later too. Oh yeah, that ain't pulling out now. Okay guys, good catch by Brian Phillips RC. I'm gonna give myself a big pat on the back. Good job, Brian. That would have been easy to miss, folks. And I gotta say, if you're in this video because you're brand new to the hobby and you're thinking, Brian, I don't even understand half of the stuff you're doing here, don't feel bad. Everybody has to start somewhere, and don't let anybody make you feel bad because you don't know this stuff. You're gonna learn it if you watch our videos, and that's why we do this channel here on Brian Phillips RC. It's not just to make money or like spam you with lots of links, although we do have lots of links. This is just in reply to Google, in case you're wondering. So if you wanna help support us in return, you can follow the links to buy these planes when you make a decision to purchase, whether it's the plane, receiver, the transmitter, or some sort of a feature. Look, we have a killer. We have a killer on our hands. Ooh, good. Oh, no, it's a bird. But you know who killed that bird? It might not have been her.
Yeah, we had a rogue cat.
We had a rogue cat last night.
It also might have been her. She does kill cats.
She kills cats too. Okay, so roll, y'all left, y'all right, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, take off flaps, landing flaps. And crow. All right, great.
Safe? Are we setting up safe?
Yeah, I was just kidding.
Oh, sorry.
So I have to set all that up before I can even worry about safe in AS3X, and so that leads us to our next step. Remember, you have to have all that right before you even start. So come around. All right, so click, scroll down to forward programming. Connecting, now this is a transceiver. It's a receiver and a transmitter. Same thing with the receiver in there. Gyro settings, AS3X settings. Ooh, because we had already set this up once, I have to do first time setup. So I'm gonna go to system setup, relearn servo settings. Why do we have to do that? Because we changed the servo settings, people.
Right.
It's very basic. Complete. Now, gyro settings, AS3X settings. We're gonna go to gain sensitivity to 4 so we can see it. Fixed adjustable, we're gonna make sure it's adjustable. Flight mode setup. That is incorrect. We need to change this to D. What channel is that?
I'm not sure.
We can even go higher. This question I don't know how to answer without checking, so I'm gonna have to check. So obviously we don't want it on aux 3, that's gonna be the master gain. Aux 2, that's what we want, and we want the input channel to be switch D. Boom. Now, flight mode 1, flight mode 2, flight mode 3. And you're thinking to yourself, but wait, why is it talking? Yep, AS3X is active. Off. I want that active there. Okay. Active. Off. That's called latency. You see the change? That's latency because this is transmitting to that and that is replying with information. Then it's being displayed to your display. All right, so that's all done. Now we can walk back. Excuse me. I'm gonna verify I didn't lose it. It didn't? Okay. Now go back into gyro settings. We can go to AS3X settings. AS3X gains. Those are the default settings.
Off. Safe mode.
And default settings.
Off. AS3X mode.
Pretty cool, huh? Now we can go to fixed adjustable. They're all adjustable, but how are they adjustable, you say? System setup. Gain channel select. Aux 2, nope. Knob, aux 3. So this is gonna, I'll just scroll it because it's easier. So aux 3 will now control the master gain for all 3 axes of control with a basis of 40, 50, and 60 for the 3 axes in question. So when I move this knob in flight, it will increase the gains or decrease the gains to nothing, or increase them to 4x, or increase or decrease them to 0, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out orientation here. This is just, it's already been done, but I wanna do it once more. Okay, I'm gonna hold the plane level. In flight attitude, this is actually not super necessary for the step. In fact, I'm gonna grab a pillow and we'll put a pillow under the wing for 2 reasons. One, I wanna make sure it stays level. Slide the plane over just a hair. I can get this further out, keep it level. And then we'll have one over here as well. And then I wanna hold the tail so it's also level. And the pillows just work good for this. If you have a blanket that your wife has out, make sure that you use it with a prop so it gets cut. And there's a giant gaping hole in it into perpetuity. And so every time you see it, she can remind you about it. That's the way I do it.
I notice that hole every single day. Oh, is that gonna be too much?
It is. I need something smaller. What do you think we have that would work, camera crew?
Not sure.
What about, okay, so we have like a kitchen towel here. So you can put this kitchen towel under here, and I just want to set the glide slope. This is actually not even the step where you need to do this, but we'll show you that step too, and that's why I'm doing this period. Okay, so that's going to hold it from tipping. Now I can just build up the thickness of the material or slide this forward until it gets into a position where I like the attitude of the aircraft. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, I like that. And then I'm just gonna hug it with, see, now that holds the plane pretty much the way I want it to fly. Now, set the model level and hit continue. Continue, set it on its nose and then hit continue, okay? So I'm gonna set it on its nose and then hit continue. Oops. On its nose, click continue. So that's the orientation. Do you see that? Orientation 5, it was not the same.
No.
Watch yourself, I'm gonna show you this.
Why is that?
I don't know, because we reset it.
But we
you
didn't,
see?
We didn't move
No,
it.
we reset it. We relearned servo positions.
Oh.
Okay, now I'm gonna lay this back down right there. I'm gonna let it back onto its surface, and then we have to make safe settings next. That's why we have this set up, okay? You don't have to do this, but it's the smart thing to do, okay? So we're gonna continue and accept those changes. Save settings. Okay. Watch the dance only once. That's AS3X. Okay, now go back into forward programming. Gyro settings. First time safe setting. We've already set it, so we can acknowledge that entry is correct. Put it in the safe mode. Continue. Flight mode 3 should change. If that doesn't change, you never actually properly associated your channel. Watch this. This is why we leveled the plane. See? I like to do this a couple of times too. You'll be surprised, it'll change sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I feel like it needs to go up just a hair, don't you? I don't want it to fly uphill. If I have safe on, I want it to fly level.
Okay.
It should be like -3. Yeah, see? You can also scroll that in yourself. Once you've established how much a step is, you can make the change, okay? So now next, okay, it updated itself because it queried the system. The system then replied with an answer. The answer then populates the screen, okay? So safe in mode 3 is inhibited currently. I want to set it to self level with angle demand, okay? You can also change it to envelope or transmitter model, curve mix, active. There you go. Okay, so angle limits, this is how far you can go up and down. Pitch down, I'm gonna set to higher, and pitch up, I'm gonna set to higher. And left and right, I'm gonna set to higher and higher, because if I wanna turn it on, I can turn it on, and then I can make it use a little bit wider envelope, okay? Now you can also just open that all the way up to everything, okay? So you can actually have the angle demand not on. So it can just auto level, okay? So now we're gonna apply, and you'll notice 2 dances. That means it's on, but not necessarily active. That's 2 dances, okay? Now that it's rebooted, we'll go back into forward programming. Waiting for it to populate. Okay, gyro settings. Okay, so safe settings. Safe gains. Okay, now we can see, we'll wait for 3 to pop up. Good.
AS3X mode.
Good. Okay, so that's a quick test. Now we can walk out. We can walk all the way out. We have to check the 4X now. Okay, so now that we have that done, we should be in AS3X mode as per the chick.
AS3X mode.
We should be off, and we should be in safe. Okay, so throttle cuts on, it's been tested, we trust it now. I'm gonna flip this thing over. This should automatically level, and it would be. It's attempting to. Now, what if I turn it off? What would happen?
It would stop.
Now, what if I had AS3X on?
It's still not gonna auto level.
Because, no, it's gonna not do anything because we haven't given throttle. AS3X is contingent on 25% throttle out once. Let's do it. That's powerful. Throttle cuts on, braking's working. Now, look at the rudder. Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy. Now watch this, all the way up, watch this. Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy. Elevator, elevator, aileron, 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 aileron. Okay, could you see it?
Yeah, you can see it on 4X when it's this big.
All right, just stay there. You're good. Okay, so watch the rudder. Toward the camera crew, away from the camera crew. Elevator, up, elevator down. You can't see the elevator. See if you can give him a shot of the elevator. Well, I'll do ailerons quick. Aileron up, aileron down, okay? Now, aileron up, aileron down. Now, this is not the only test. Let's do the elevator now. See if you can show me the elevator. Going up.
Yep.
Going down.
Yep.
Okay, so it's all going the correct direction. You have to check both ailerons. If you have something wrong, you won't know until it's crashing. Okay, now also double check your controls. Roll left, roll right. Okay, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. Okay, very good. So all the controls are working. Now, we have to check crow and take off flaps. Take off flaps, aileron up, aileron down, aileron up, aileron down, elevator, rudder. Everything's working. Now full crow. Aileron up, elevator up, rudder, rudder. Okay, so that tells us everything is working, even with crow and in all settings. Now, I'm gonna move this like crazy. Watch this, I'm gonna turn my knob from 100% to nothing. There's 50%. I actually think this needs 4X, hon.
Really?
Yeah, because like we normally put it on 1X, but I just feel like there's not very much deflection.
I mean, you can always turn it all the way down. We can readjust it.
That's true, but you know what? I say that now, and I'm gonna regret it because we
much.
always put it to 1X, and it's always about right.
If you think it needs more, maybe do like 2 instead of 4.
Okay, that's true. Let's do that. Okay, throttle cuts on. So how do we do that? We go to flap system, or forward programming rather. Wait for it to initiate, get its connection made, go to gyro settings, AS3X settings. There's 2, there's 1. Okay, now if I were to do the same exact test, it should still be active because it has already initiated. We didn't make a change that required a reset, therefore we don't have to throttle out again. All the way up, working, 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 working. If you can't see it, take your hand, lay it on the control surface, and do the same test. You can actually feel a lot more than you think. All right, so without further ado, guys, this thing is ready to fly. Just easy peasy, lemon squeezy, that's all it took. And all you have to do is that exact setup for any sailplane that you want to use an acro basis model for. And you're going to get all the features except for, we didn't talk about Vario. I'm going to put my master gain to 50%. Let's do Vario. I'm going to get this prop away from my face. When they get big like this, it's always awkward because you're constantly like flipping them all over the place. Okay, so let's talk about Vario. How do we set up Vario? Vario, of course, is a telemetry function. Vario. We have it set. Now I'm going to set it to switch C. I want it off on that and on and on. Okay, so when it's on, it's going to sound like boop, 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 boop. If it's going up and boop, 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 boop.
Do you have it on?
I do, but I might not be changing it enough to be heard. Oh, no, I don't. Wait, do I?
It should be on in 1 and 2.
Okay. Nothing? Okay, watch this. You can scroll. There's our voltage of our pack. There's your Vario. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Now that doesn't seem like it's very helpful. It should be making noise. Step
You're
back,
at
please.
like 3-something feet of change.
Yep, 3.5 feet of change.
Yeah.
So listen, guys, I'm gonna show you how to change this right now, okay? So we would not have an audio event here. That's what we need to do, is we need to either make an audio event or telemetry in this way. See how it says switch? I can set it so that it's barely anything. Okay, now watch this. It's gonna be like super sensitive. Okay, so I'm in no noise, nothing, okay? Now watch this. As soon as I go to that, okay.
Yes.
So the reason we do that is because if you're out in a thermal ship, then you want to see when change occurs, okay? So now watch that chart. Okay, you'll be able to tell, and then you can shut the audio event off so it doesn't drive you literally bonkers.
Well, and you can set your range. Are you going to adjust the range back? Or are you going to?
No, I want it to be really obnoxious when I turn it on because it's fun. Okay, so guys, that's pretty much the entire setup. And we did a lot of setup, and that was not hard, but it was just time consuming. And that's what we do here on Brian Phillips RC, is time consuming videos that are tedious in nature, because that's what I do best. I'm patient with machines for some reason, and I do well with that. I'm not patient with people like I should be, and that's something I need to work on. Just ask my wife. But the truth is, I love doing RC stuff, and I love setting up machines and stuff like that. I get a kick out of it. When you can command a machine to do things the way you want it, it makes it so much more fun. And it's also necessary when you set these planes up, because guess who's on the hook when you are the one that set it up? You. Yep. So do it right. If you need help, get help. I'm here to help, and lots of other people are available to help. But if you need help, you're in a good place. That'd be BrianPhillipsRC.com. If you have a club that likes to talk more than they do, then we will help you set it up the night before you show up, okay? And then you can go out and you can listen to everybody lollygag about what they disagree with, and then you can go show them how good it works. Because that's literally what's happened at many clubs, and I hope that your club will be the same way if they're not already supportive of us. We do want for success in RC. We think that there's a lot to be gained by having these things set up right. You're gonna have a better experience. It's gonna be a more fun to fly plane, and it's definitely gonna be more capable than you probably realized previously. Okay, so that's what we do here on Brian Phillips RC, is we help people that are returning to the hobby to get the most out of the hobby from things they probably don't know about yet, because they're thinking, I still need to go get crystals and a Futaba radio that costs $15,000. It's not that way anymore. You can get a $400 or $500 transmitter, and you can do just about whatever you want. It's kind of incredible. Now, yes, you can go spend thousands of dollars on really nice radios, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to disparity. I'm not saying there's no explanation for the disparity in price. But you don't need to spend that kind of money to get in the air, okay? Even this brand new NX7E would get you up in the air on something like this, but you would have to omit some of the features. So if you're buying this Fox, it's not even a Fox, ASW-17 2.5 meter from FMS, and you're gonna put in a complicated receiver like the AR637T, then I highly suggest you take full advantage of every feature you can. And then you can always back it off if you don't need it, okay? Because having crow is only necessary when you really need to stop quick. And having takeoff flaps is only necessary if you want to fly and enjoy the wide flight envelope of a plane. The only thing I wish I had differently on these transmitters is I wish I had like 4 different settings for flaps. Because then I could do, like, on crow configurations, I could do regular takeoff flaps, I could do landing flaps, and I could do takeoff crow and landing crow. But that's just a wish list item. We'll get it someday. But for now, we're happy with what we got. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully we answered all your questions. You already saw it fly at the beginning of this video. If you want to help support us, the best thing you can do is buy the planes from the links. If you don't follow the link, we get 0 credit, okay? It'd be like going to the hobby shop and saying, hey, Johnny at the hobby shop, help me do all this work. And then you walked out of the shop and then you went down to the competitor and you bought it. That's basically the way it works. Okay, so if we helped you out, the best you can do is just buy the stuff from the links. We make small commissions on it. That helps us to fund our projects like this, which are huge. We're digging a pond right now, it's a big project. It's gonna take a long time. It's very expensive, okay? Among other things. That's just one example. We're also gonna extend the runway. We're gonna put a helipad in. We're gonna put a damn runway across, and then we're gonna build a shop back there. A 60 by 80 by 20 is our goal, but we wanna make sure the placement's right. So we gotta get the pond in place. We gotta try to mitigate the trees to the right spots so we can use it. And eventually there'll be a full-scale strip right there. So you can see it now, a lot easier.
Okay.
So guys, thanks so much for watching. You're making it happen. This is real life for Brian Phillips, but it's just fun for you on Brian Phillips RC. So just remember, you are making big things happen when you help support us by buying from the links, or if you help support us through Patreon, which is monthly. So thanks to our monthly supporters. I think we're up to like some 42 people are supporting us monthly. Thank you guys. And then we also have YouTube members. Of course, they are taking their cut. So make no mistake, if you want to cut that out, you can go to another support platform. We have Super Thanks. They also take their cut. Don't make any mistake about it, guys. Anything that YouTube does, they take their cut, and it's a big cut. I don't know if I can say the percentages, but it's a lot more than we make on these planes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So if you do support us, we still really appreciate it, and understand that's not your problem, that's their problem. We can't stop them from being greedy, but you can still support us, okay? And then, of course, the fourth way you can support us would be through PayPal. Friends and family would be the preferred method. If you do donations, then there's quite a lot of fees that come out. I think like 20 bucks turns into like 16 or 17, so it's not nothing. And we just want you to be aware. We try to be transparent about stuff like this, because at the end of the day, we're not ever trying to trick anybody, ever. We're just trying to help grow the hobby, and we need to try to accomplish our goals, which are big and expensive. Okay, so we're winning while you're winning, while the relationships with these vendors are winning. Everybody wins in this equation. Okay, so that's what we're doing our best to do, and we hope that you guys agree. If you agree, smash the like button, click the bell for notifications when you do subscribe, and come back for more, because we have tons just over the horizon. And with Black Friday right around the corner, we want to make sure you check out brianphillipsrc.com. That's our domain. And this is where you're going to find coupon codes for planes that might be in my hands right now. Keep in mind, these coupon codes usually have time limits, so make sure that you do it quick if you want to get the discount. If you don't care about the discount, no big deal. Just do it when you got time, do it when you got money. But if you need to borrow it from Johnny at the hobby shop, we understand. Just do it quick so that you don't miss out on opportunities. We want you guys to spread your RC dollars as far as possible. And if you are going to support us, we really do appreciate it. We want you to get good value for the support that you give us. So we appreciate you as always. Thanks for watching, guys. So much more coming from Brian Phillips RC. And we appreciate you always. World's best audience.